Peace in sight. Let me be a ray of hope, shining out your light, and I want the whole world to know you.
Hey everyone, we are here talking about the Expressions Ministries Network. It was a great launch and a kickoff that we had this past weekend, and it was just a time really of connecting one with the other. We were joking about how the best time that we had was the dinner break, which was very short because time was short. But just being able to know everyone's heart, and the more you hear everybody's heart, the more you realize how connected we really are. And don't realize it, and that's what that's the meaning of the network, or that's why God has us doing it. It's just that we're able to pull everybody together of like mind and like heart, and then say, God, how? We know the impact that you want to make. We know your personality, your character, and your nature, and we want to see that manifested in every area that we have influence. Mm-hmm. And so we were just talking earlier. And I just think it's a great thing for all of us to kind of understand. You've had opportunities to minister and to connect with business leaders, church leaders, really in every realm of society. You've had the opportunity to connect with people and to see from the inside out how the desire of the heart can go from just a conception to a reality. And I just want to see if you could lay that out for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, everybody that I know that has a vision, whether it be a business vision, vision for the family, vision for ministry, a church, to getting it from here to where there's really a reality of life where everybody can experience it and the fulfillment of it is a difficult thing, because many people have ideas.
It's that thing.
Yeah, it's the difference between being a creative person and being a creator. It has to go from being an imagination. It starts there, but it has to go from being creative to creating. The creation, God created. It wasn't just that He was just creative. He was creating. He created the heavens and the earth, which means there was an actual evidence of what His creativity was. So many people have it. So take an example. You've been part of the church, a large church before, in large businesses. They started out small. It had a vision, a dream, an idea, a concept of how things should be. Well, what happens is when getting it to grow, there's three phases of this process. You can look at Abraham, for example. You take a small mom and pop, sole proprietor, small, me and a good idea and a product or service, whether it be a church or whether it be a business. Either way, it's still a product or service. Then Abraham was a good example of just a sole proprietor, a real small-minded church initially, and he had a promise. He was going to have a son. So it didn't happen like he thought it was going to happen, but what he did do was him and Sarah got together and figured out in their small-mindedness how we're going to make this thing work for ourselves. So they go out and get Hagar, and he creates Ishmael, right? But he learned, that's a sole proprietor, that's a small church mindset. I have to do this myself. It's not going to come to pass unless I do it myself. So businesses do the same thing. You got a guy that owns the business, or a lady owns the business, or a family that owns the business, and the only way it's going to happen is if I've got my hands on it, and I've got to touch every aspect of it to see it come to pass. Same way with the church. Pastor, a couple of people. Next thing I know, I'm going to be creating. I got to have my hands in every aspect of it. That's Abraham's early model. Okay.
So a lot of times they're operating in areas that they're not necessarily even gifted.
Right.
They've got a dream, and they're just trying to apply that, twist it, turn it, make it happen, whatever way.
Great intentions, because nobody can see it like they see it. So they want to make sure that what they have seen creativity in their mind turns out to be the actual creation that they have. They want to see it from here to reality. And so it's a sole proprietor. It's a small church, small ministry mindset. It's the early stages. Nothing wrong with it, but most people stop there. Then others progress, like Abraham progressed as Isaac came along. So when Isaac grows up, Abraham now is not just a sole proprietor. He's got servants, lots of them. And so much servants that he's sending a servant to go all the way across country to get Isaac a wife. So now he didn't have to go himself to get Isaac a wife like he did with the early stages of the sole proprietor. Now he's a small church, mid-sized church, where he has people working for him. Okay, out here doing this and doing that. Same way with the business. I've got employees. I make it work. So now all I have to do in the early stages, it's just me communicating with my 2 or 3 people. Okay, over here I might have to communicate with 10 or 15 people. It's bigger than me, but I can't do it all myself. Over here, if I go on vacation, the thing has to stop. It's idle. Over here, if I go on vacation, I got a couple people I can trust to kind of fill in for me while I'm gone. Not going to grow, but it's not going to lose anything either. Mm-hmm. Okay, so he sends a servant to go get Isaac, right? A wife. So he comes back. So that's a mid-sized company or a mid-sized church, okay, or ministry. But then Isaac grows up and says, "Hey, I realize how this is working. I remember my dad as a sole proprietor. I remember him as he grew into a small business or small church, a mid-sized church. But I'm going to do it a little differently. My son's not going to have it this way." So he has Jacob. Jacob grows up, and guess what Jacob does? Jacob has 12 sons. And he says, "I can't run it like my grandfather did, and I can't run it like my dad did, because it's bigger than that. Because the mandate on us is we got to go across the entire globe." So Abraham, Isaac, and now Jacob says 12 sons, and they start going, it's this way. This way, it's not built on Jacob. It's built on the heart and the systems of a large corporation. It outlives Jacob. It now takes on the heart of the 12 that really stems from the heart of Jacob, but yet it really isn't necessary Jacob to be there. Jacob can go on vacation. Jacob could be gone. Jacob could go somewhere else. Jacob could pass away, but that lives on forever. And it outgrows a man. One's built on a man. One's built on a man and some helpers. The next one's built on the vision and the heart that way outlives the man.
So when someone's going on vacation, the brain didn't just leave town.
Right.
The heart didn't just leave town.
Right.
But it's built within, and there's that same heart is built within others, and
absolutely.
So practically speaking,
okay.
What are some things to look out for, or how do I know how to get started within my organization or my church to know where the heart needs to be communicated? There may be a disconnect.
Well, it's Ezekiel 37. Okay, you first have to have a skeleton. All right, the whole idea now is to get creativity into a real creation. Okay, and that outlives you and is sustainable for generations. Okay, that's the whole idea. God, when he gives you something to create, he starts out with creativity in your mind. You see it in your head first or your heart first, and then you start communicating to other people that haven't kind of seen it like you haven't seen it like that, but you know it's there. So you've got to get it from concept to reality. All right, so it first starts with the person or the persons that are creating. And then it's Ezekiel 37. You have to have an infrastructure, a structure, a skeleton of how this thing's going to look. What is the infrastructure? What is the flow? What is the blueprint of this? The blueprint is not the building, but it is actually an intangible picture of the building, right?
And so a lot of times this may not feel like it is even necessary, because you could just get in there and do it.
Sure.
It may not feel like it's necessary in the moment. So what this is about is recognizing the need for not just the heart, but for the systems beyond that.
Right.
Even before the emergency comes, even
Absolutely.
Before the issues come.
Yeah.
And so we're going to have another video coming up really soon where we kind of unpack exactly, maybe practically, logistically, what those kind of things we need to watch out for, to look for, or even create. To see the heart go from creativity to creation. And that's really what we're doing here in the network as a whole, isn't it? Is that God has a heart, and He's looking to connect His central nervous system, His everybody that has a story, a small story within the big story. He's going to connect all of those so that His heart can be communicated clearly to the nations.
His goal is to get His head, the authority, the mind of Christ carried out in the extremities of the body. And how that happens is through communication through the central nervous system, right? So that is communication. The old days, it was pen and paper. Today, it's electronic and it's virtual. It's bigger than, because the mandate in a small environment is just me and you helping cover a couple of neighborhoods in a city. But now our mandate is the globe. So how do we go from mom and pop to mid-size to institutional, which outlives us? And how that is done is through connecting to the brain and the central nervous system, the communication systems that you put in place out into the furthest part of the body. That way the body is not disconnected from the head. The only way the head is connected to the body and carried out in the body is through the communication tools. And that's through infrastructure, blueprint, and then beginning to put the mechanics in place where communication can flow,
Wow.
information flows. And the more structure you put, the more information flows, the heart is carried forward, and then it gets carried out. So what you thought you saw will come to pass, but it all depends on that central nervous system that's connected from the body to the brain.
Wow. But so if we pray that this has stirred some thoughts and stirred some ideas,
Mm-hmm.
and what we'd like you to do right on below this video, if you have specific questions that have come up, or if you just want to message us directly, you can help us create the next video where we kind of unpack this thing even more logistically than we have. We'll see you guys soon with Expressions Ministries Network.
Shining out your light, yeah, and I want the whole world to know you. I want the whole world to know you. I want the whole